Welcome to Friday Football Fever Week 8. I'm Albert Alvarado, subbing in for Alan Mandel, who couldn't make it this week. But we're talking about some of our other area schools, namely Florence, Salado, Lampas, Gatesville today. Start off with Florence. Florence has a big matchup. They're going to go to Little River Academy, to face off there after losing their district opener to Lago Vista, 42-17 at home. When I talked to Coach Joey McQueen, frankly, we had a good conversation about both games. He said 275 yards rushing against Lago Vista. Well, that's pretty good. They're shooting for 300 per game, so that's still quite a bit off. I think that Florence can use that slot T to have 300 yards rushing game. It's always a good thing. McQueen also talked about playoffs. That's been Florence's goal. That's been the Buffalo's goal all season. And if they want to make the playoffs, these two games against Little River Academy and their next game here coming up, those are must-win games against Little River Academy and Troy. Obviously, they have a tough end of the schedule with Rockdale, a state-ranked team, and two-time defending state champion Cameron Yo. So these two games are basically playoff games. Florence does need to win these to go to the playoffs. Defensively, I know Coach McQueen said the Buffaloes played well 90% of the snaps. It's just those long runs against Lago Vista that ended up costing them. So Florence, like I said, big district road matchup again this week. Let's see how they do. Moving on, Salado. I'll be at Salado Giddings this week. Jordan, tell me and some of our football fans what you can expect from Salado other than those sweet Oregon-inspired helmets.
Oh, those helmets are great. But I did see Salado last week against Caldwell. They fell by a large margin, 65-23, but actually it's a bit misleading. That was a close game. It was 14-9 until the 3:50 mark of the second quarter, and then Caldwell got two touchdowns on by the sophomore running back Keyshawn Chambers, who's he's explosive for a sophomore. He's going to be giving coordinators some headaches for years to come out there. But what you saw with Salado, besides the fact that they were able to come up with timely stops, they recovered an onside kick. They did a good job, but they had turnovers. They had 6 turnovers, 5 interceptions, and then they also had a fumble on a kickoff that really swung the momentum for Caldwell. So that really hurt them. But you had Jacob Quick, who is nominated for KDH Press Box Player of the Week for the second week in a row. I mean, he was dominant at times. He had a 74-yard catch and run for the Eagles' first touchdown. I mean, he's getting looks to play at the next level. His ball skills are great. He's got good height. He can jump with the best of them. And he really showed that against Caldwell. They had no answer for him. And Salado, obviously, that's a good weapon for them to have going forward. They feel confident. They had 14 straight points in the third quarter, but they had 2 pick sixes in that quarter. So that's what hurt them. They feel like if they can correct those mistakes, that they can really get in there. They keep talking about they just need one. And it's a 5-team district. They just need one win to get to the playoffs and extend the season. So that's what they're looking for. Obviously, it's a tough district. Giddings is not going to be any easier. But some good signs last week against Caldwell, and they'll be looking to build on that going into Giddings.
Now, we have two of our area teams going head-to-head this week when Lampasas goes to Gatesville. Clay Whittington covers both of those teams. Clay, tell me about that matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one for fans of the area, getting to see two of the smaller schools kind of collide. But unfortunately for Lampasas, they're not going to be at full strength. They lost Robinson last week in the district opener. They lost their leading rusher, Todd Phillips, to a broken collarbone. So he's going to be out for the rest of the year. So good thing about that, I guess, if you can spin it, is that, with this system they run, they can, you can't just replace somebody, but they can plug somebody in and kind of just go along. Nothing will really change except the name. So that's kind of the good thing, is that they can just make the transition as easy as possible. But playing against Gatesville isn't going to be easy. These two teams have played each other for quite a while now, and Lampasas last week they fell into an early hole, and this offense just isn't made to come back from big deficits, and they were down 33 points early in the second half, and it's just not going to happen with these running teams. So the key for Lampasas will be to avoid falling into a similar hole like that. For Gatesville, they're coming off a disappointing loss to La Vega last week. 42-21 was the final, but it was a lot closer than that. It was 28-21 going into the fourth quarter, and Gatesville gave up 14 unanswered points in that quarter, and that made the difference. And that's kind of been their problem throughout the year. They've gotten worn down throughout games. They've only scored 14 points in fourth quarters throughout the year this far. They only have 14 points. So if Lampasas is able to build a lead on them, then history will show that they should be pretty safe. So it'll be interesting to see the way the two teams respond. They both need a win in district here after losing their district openers last week. So it's also going to be Gatesville's homecoming, so that gives them a little added incentive to put on a show next week or this week. But it'll be an interesting game, and I think the team that is able to kind of establish their tempo and establish their style of game early will be better off for it later on in the game.
Thank you, Clay, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Friday Football Fever. Be sure to visit kdhpressbox.com to read more about your favorite team.